You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Paige Sparks, trial attorney at Sparks Law Firm in St. Louis, Missouri, focusing on employment law. Paige is also a TikTok superstar, and we're going to chat. We're going to chat about that today. Social media, the rise to fame, and Paige Sparks. How are you?
Hi, Benny. Thanks for having me. You've seen my whole journey from being like a fresh out of law school lawyer all the way to today.
Yeah, don't speed it up, Paige. We're going to go through it because, it's been incredible. It's been incredible. We were, it's actually interesting you bring that up. First off, I was going through the Lawyer Stories archives earlier today. The Lawyer Stories archives, aka the Lawyer Stories subfile in Gmail with some of the stories, and you submitted your story on my birthday, December 18th, 2019. Excuse me. Is that 5 years ago? Oh, almost 5 years ago.
I was a brand new baby lawyer.
So that, it's cool. We've been friendly along the way. We've kept in touch. We've been friends. We follow each other. I've seen, obviously the tremendous stuff that you're doing, on social media, launching your firm. So excited to get into it. And we met in real life at a conference in Atlanta a couple years ago, which was fun. We actually did a clip that I really enjoyed. Yeah. And I do want to say, thank you for your support with Lawyer Stories. You did this video once, and it meant so much to me. You did this video where you had my Instagram in the background of you because you know how to do that stuff. I actually don't even know how to do that stuff yet. Where you put the Instagram page in the back of you, and you were follow Lawyer Stories, blah. And this is when you started to you started to pick up a little bit. So Paige has stayed Paige. You're true to yourself. I've always appreciated that about you. You're humble and you're kind. So thank you for being that way, and welcome.
Well, if I ever change, I want you to slap me, Benny, call me out on it, because I think that's awful. But you know how you felt but for us doing that video, that's how I felt when you first posted my lawyer story.
Yeah, man.
Because I was really scared to do it.
Well, it's funny because today when I went back through Gmail, I was thinking about, oh man, this would be sweet if I knew how to flash the picture of Paige in the podcast. Yeah. I mean, I probably could figure it out because it's little old Paige and this little dress or skirt. You look so shy, a young baby lawyer. I mean, it's not you've been out for too long, but you're pretty seasoned by the way that we could tell and everything. So
I should do a video of that. Would be here was my first social media post as a lawyer with that in the background. That would be a throwback.
I'll send it back to you later if you want. I mean, I could just email it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. So with all that little history, with my friend Paige behind us, when did you? So I'm gonna also go into a little bit about your story, so you don't need to start there. But I just want to know, when did you know you wanted to be a lawyer?
So I wanted to be a lawyer in high school. I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I can't do any math at all. No. So I knew I couldn't be a doctor because math, science, all that, you have to be able to do that. Is what they say. So I was well, I don't know what to do after college. I guess I'll go to law school. And I thought I wanted to be a prosecutor. If you ever Google
me. I could see that. Okay.
All the way back, I really wanted to be a prosecuting attorney, which now I could not imagine that at all.
Okay.
But that's what I thought I wanted to do.
What's that?
I said, that's what I thought I wanted to do.
Okay.
And then as soon as I started law school, I was I don't want to be a prosecutor. I shadowed one, and I was this is not for me.
Was it too quick, or they were going through rifling through the cases and just coming up with different resolutions? What was it about that whole thing?
Kind of that, because like I was expecting like Law and Order, you ever watch that show?
Yeah.
Wasn't really
Of
Alex
course.
Novak. I wanted to be her, and
Yeah.
so it's not like that at
You
all.
got to make that. You got to be like, you got to make
Yeah,
that face. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I
that
know what
mic
you're
drop
saying.
moment. Yeah,
What's
she
that?
was. I said in her mic drop moments,
Yeah,
she.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. So it's not like that, and that's like a lot of people probably in law school. Like they think one way, and
Yeah.
they get out, they try something. I guess that's why it's good to taste a lot of things, see what you like, see what you don't like. So this is so it was high school. So you wanted to do that. Was it something in high school that like struck your interest? Like, did you read something?
So I've always been kind of more of an academic student, and I loved being
Okay.
in debate. I was in the debate club, and I was that
Okay.
like little weirdo in high school that would sit in the back of the debate. And
Okay.
I did everyone's homework in high school too, like they would pay me to
Really?
do it. And so in my debate class,
Oh,
I loved it so much. No one even paid me for it. They'd bring me there like, "Oh, I have to go argue this." And I would literally write their argument and be like, "Go do
really?
this." Yeah, I love doing that. And
That's
so my
cool.
debate teacher was like kind of pushed me into that direction.
Okay. That's interesting. So, when you submitted your story the first time 5 years, well, almost 5 years ago, closer to probably 4.5 years ago, but you told us the story about how this is funny. I'm just going to read this. So, do you even remember what you wrote?
I do. I
Okay,
do.
so you said you told us the story about your drive to school on the first day of law school.
Yeah.
You tell us you you were drenched, like because you were running into the school or like you couldn't find parking, um, and you took your photo ID picture at law school drenched, and you look like a drowned rat.
Yeah, because I got in a car accident on my way to school,
Okay.
right outside the law school. And I'm from the country. I'm not a city girl. It was very intimidating to me to go to school downtown at St. Louis for St.
Yeah.
Louis University. So I was driving around. It was raining, and I'm like, I didn't figure out where parking was before, and I was trying to find it. And I was looking this way, and I just ran through one of the lights and just smoked this lady's car.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she was so nice, but I was like already freaked out, first day of law school.
My
And we
gosh. Like
exchanged
there's no park.
information. What
They
do you
don't know,
say?
like they don't tell you like how to park when you're going into the school.
They probably did, but it
Yeah.
was just like me,
All right, you're rushing. All right, so the lady was
Yeah.
nice that you
Yeah,
banged.
thank God she was nice, because I definitely would have cried. And we exchanged information, and it was raining. And then I literally ran to school because then I was late. Like I was like 10 minutes late. And they take your ID, your picture for
Yep.
your ID right when you get there. And it was like, I mean, it was like hair was up from being rained on. And I have like, yeah, I was really sad. It didn't turn out that bad. Like they must have photoshopped it or something. But I was like,
Good.
is this a metaphor for my first day of law
Right.
school that
Right.
that this all happened?
You're like, maybe this isn't meant to be. No.
Yeah,
So,
that
well, I
crossed my
know all
mind.
those things run through your mind. I get it. So,
Yeah.
like, the question is, when you finally went into class, were you late for class?
Yeah, I was
Did they
late.
call on you? Did they? What's
No, nobody got called on in our classes like the first day. I don't remember. I don't think anyone got called on because it was all the orientation stuff.
okay? All right.
Yeah.
There's like, who's that lady with the wet hair? All right. So,
Yeah. I just looked funny.
so you said you had a lot of interesting jobs before going to law school, maybe?
Yeah, so
Tell us about them.
before I was a lawyer, actually even still now, before I was a lawyer, I always had like 5 jobs at once. I just get bored, and I had a very expensive horseback riding hobby I had to
Okay.
finance. So I was like working at Quick Trip as a clerk, a gas station. It was one of my favorite jobs. I worked there like regular full time. I worked all through law school too. I house sat all through law school
Oh, that's
for people's horses and animals, and I made like so much money doing that. They
wow.
just pay me to stay there. So I eventually got like over 20 houses where I would just rotate. Like I was never home. I lived in my
Really?
relative's
Oh, goodness.
basement when
Why
I
would you go to
wasn't.
law school then? You had like a little business going here, Paige.
Well, because it was like a lot of hustling,
It
like
was a lot.
I
Did
knew
they
I
leave
couldn't
good
do it.
snacks in the house at least?
Yeah, everyone always fed me. They'd leave me cool stuff. Yeah, it
Nice.
was. I still from time to time I'll house it like 1 or 2 houses still because it's kind of fun, like cool houses,
That is fun, yeah.
But back in the day, I would be doing that. So like I'd wake up, work at Quick Trip from 6 until 2. I was house sitting at least one house at a time. I'd work at the barn. I do wedding makeup on the weekends with my best friend.
Wow.
Like I worked at a wedding cake bakery. I worked at a clothing store in St. Charles all at the same time. I worked for Lindenwood, like everything.
Oh my goodness. So what was so fun about working at Quick Trip?
The people was really fun. They were really fun for me to work with because everyone was just like funny. We'd like prank each other, or the customers. So I worked at a Quick Trip that was off of First Capital in St. Charles, which if anyone who's listening knows the area, it's kind of there's some questionable characters there. So like
Nice.
it was never boring. There was always something weird going on. Like we'd get like threats and stuff, or people would be crazy, and it was just like a funny work environment. There's a guy who would show up in like full Batman attire and like do magic tricks outside the front door. Like,
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was just a fun job. There was a gunfight one time out in the park.
Gunfight, okay.
I remember watching it. Yeah, I remember watching it like this over like the chip rack, like peeking over the chips, and I was trying to record it for Snapchat.
Oh my!
Like it was just a fun job.
A gunfight. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so in law school, what's that?
They were fighting over a girl.
That sounds about right. So in law school, you had your doubts, like a lot of us do. I believe that's what I read.
Sure.
And tell us, and then you took trial advocacy, and it like kind of changed your trajectory. Like, what was it about trial ad?
So law school was really hard for me. I tried to keep all those jobs. So I wasn't doing the reading. It was so hard for me to keep up with the homework.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like bottom of the class and on academic restriction for a lot of the time. And it was because I'm not book smart. I'm practical. I'm a trial attorney. Like I can talk with people all day. I love jury trials, but I don't like writing a 20-page legal brief. It's just not my strength. Yep. So I was struggling all through law school until my last year, actually. And I was like, maybe I don't want to be a lawyer. Like, this isn't what I thought it would be. Right. I'm not very good at it. And then I had my trial ad class, and that was the first A I ever got, which anyone who's listening that's a lawyer knows how hard it is to get a freaking A in law school.
It's amazing. They
limit how many you can get. And that's when I was like, okay, I won't be hopeless. I just need to be a trial attorney. Wow. And I loved it. It was so fun. It was just like, I was like, this is my calling.
Yeah, totally. So what was like the biggest challenge? Was it the homework, the reading, the called on? I didn't like getting called on. I make that pretty clear in a lot of my episodes. Like,
yeah,
it really distracted me from like, I would try to write so they wouldn't like call me. Oh, this guy's writing over there. I'm going to leave him alone. Let's call him. No, never happened. I mean, I would just get like, I couldn't pay attention because I was so worried about getting called on the whole time.
Really? Do you not like public speaking?
Well, I would have been so much better at it if I had given myself more time. Like if I don't know. It's kind of a long thing, but it's a little complicated. But yeah, I mean, I just think it was more like being prepared and like that sort of thing.
That's kind of was my problem.
Having faith in yourself, like knowing that your answer's not any worse than the next person's answer. Nobody knows what they're talking about, and just sort of like rising to the challenge. It's difficult.
It's
when
stressful. Everyone's very like self-conscious of what they're doing, what their answers are. It's so competitive. Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of my issue too. But like, I have no shame. You have to try really hard to embarrass me. So like when I got called on, I'd like message the professor before class and be like, look, I'm working 3 jobs. I did not do the reading. I'm not going to attend if you call on me. And I literally had one professor who I had a good like relationship with, what I could tell this with. And he'd be like, Miss Sparks, please come to class. I will not call on you. You please come to class. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I would have no problem being like, if I got called on, I'd be like, I don't know if I didn't know. Yeah. But the hardest part for me was doing the reading was really hard. Like at night, I could do all my work at school just fine, but between working and I tried to ride my horse every day still, which took a lot of time, and I just didn't prioritize reading like all the people at the top of the class did.
Yeah, well, I think you're very real about everything, and I think that that's something that I like, and I I'm thankful for and grateful for. Like, you have this huge audience now, which we're going to talk about, and you're real about things. Like, people are curious about law school and like how it goes, and they think a certain thing about lawyers, but you could be a success, and you don't need to be the top of your class. You could struggle through law school and still, like, who cares, like years later, be a success. It just like doesn't matter. It matters maybe for your first job, and like that's it.
That's it. Nobody looks
So
at your
yeah,
grades after your first shot.
I'm with
And
you.
I'm so glad you said that, Benny, because that's why I am so open and vocal about it, because nobody was saying that to me when I was in law school. There was nobody who was like being real about it. And that made it so much worse. So if someone out there listening just needs to hear like just freaking pass and you'll be fine.
Just pass.
That would have made such a difference if someone had said that to me.
That's right. That's right. So what was your first lawyer job like? I think it lasted about 4 years. You were clerk at a couple different places, right, for a year.
Yeah, so my first job as a lawyer, I actually had been a law clerk while I was in law school for the same employer. And then when I passed the bar, I just immediately started lawyering. I was doing like all the same stuff, just kind of with less approval once I passed the bar. So I worked there. I learned a lot. I'm grateful for what I learned. I had to kind of do everything by myself. It was a very small solo practitioner before I became a lawyer. And I had not a lot of oversight. So I learned best from trial by fire, you know? And so I learned a lot very quickly, very early on. And I did employment cases. That's kind of how I got into doing employment law. Was we had a really high profile local case that was like really sexy, really cool. And that's when I was like, I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, well, yeah, what is it about employment that you like? I mean, besides that, kind of like getting into a case. I mean, is there something that, why employment rather than family law or PI or something like that?
Yeah, I like employment for a couple of reasons. One, it's not as like oversaturated as PI or some other areas, and it's much less competition because you don't get like these windfall cases where you get $1 million. You just don't get that with employment law because of the caps. But I also really like it is because the people that I get to help it's like their worst day they've ever had. They got fired. They don't know how they're going to pay their car payment or their mortgage. They don't know how to tell their wife, and they didn't deserve it. And I love standing up for the little guy. I love helping people in that position. From all the jobs that I've had, I usually know kind of what they're going through because it's happened to me.
Oh, that's so
I've had some weird situations. And so a lot of my clients will have a period where they're like trying to convince me, like, I know this sounds crazy, but he did touch my butt. And then he said he was going to fire me if I told anyone. And I'm like, yeah, that's also happened to me. I believe you. And it just kind of like, you can feel them like relax, because it's a different.
How do you prove that though? Really? Like, how do you?
So it depends on every different situation.
I know.
Usually, even if we can't pinpoint the exact event, if it's like he said, she said, or no proof, there's enough you can infer afterward, or that's what makes it a jury question, which is like risk to both sides. If we can't prove it, but there's two different versions, usually we've survived summary judgment, and then it's a jury question.
Have you done a lot of trials, and are you going to court a lot, or is it mostly settled?
Yeah, I'm in court quite a bit, which I like. I like to kind of stay fresh with it. I've had one jury trial recently, which we won. It was it was a repossession case, so it was an employment law. It was actually kind of funny. And then I just almost had a trial. Actually, this Tuesday it was supposed to start. It settled right before. So I'm dying to get in the courtroom more. I really like it. But you know how it is, like the defense attorneys, they keep stats on who actually goes to trial or who files and then just sits on the case and doesn't do anything. Right. So I'm always being like crazy and creative to up the ante, to keep the pressure on. But yeah, we take it to trial.
That's awesome. Love it. Good for you. Good for you. So I'm thinking of which way I should take this now, because I want to ask you when you knew it was time to launch your own firm, but I don't want to go so far into this. I want to also introduce the social media stuff. So was launching your own firm as a result of social media? Yeah. Okay. So let me just tell you. So we'll get into that then. So like one day I turned around on social media and I'm like, yo, what's up? Paige is like blowing up, cause I knew little old Paige from 2018, and like your little humble, like lawyer stories and your photo and I think there was
like bootstrap story.
Yeah. And like all of a sudden, you're just like, you're on, I joined TikTok kind of late, but you're making coffee for everybody. You're just like spewing these like legal stories, you're sipping from a straw, you're confident, you know what you're talking about, you're projecting well, and you're getting like millions of views. And so before we get right into that, like what made you say like, okay, like I'm gonna launch my own firm? I mean, were you just getting like case after case in your inbox?
I've got a lot of leads from it for
Okay.
sure. I got a
Okay.
lot of leads, and I don't think I would have been in the position to start my own firm if I did not have social media that was funneling me those leads.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my life would have been like without that, to be honest, because I was at a really bad place with my first job. I was desperate.
Yeah.
I was doing all the work for like $40,000 a year. Isn't
Yeah.
that freaking insane? And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm already making peanuts. I might as well work for myself. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Right. Like
Right.
it already sucks. It can't get
Right.
worse. And so, thanks to social media, I was able to do that. Actually, I didn't have a ton of viral videos before I started my own law firm, though. I think it
Okay.
might have been like maybe two, and they were kind of just talking about like general labor rights. I remember one of them. Remember when like the makeup tutorials were a big thing on
Yep.
TikTok? I don't know. Okay, I was like, I don't know if that ever came up on your For You page,
Uh,
obviously, but
Not really. I mean, I
I love,
see people like doing their makeup and talking about stuff, but that's about it.
yeah.
Okay.
That's why that was like one of my really first. Well, that's probably like one of my top five viral videos that went viral because
Yeah. Tell us about. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tell
no,
us.
it's okay. I was just getting ready. We were getting ready to go down to New Orleans for my birthday, actually, taking a road trip. And
Nice.
I was like, I need to make a video real quick because I wanted maximum growth. So I was posting like 3 to 5 videos a day, which
Hmm.
was a lot. That's like a lot to commit to, but that's how I got such fast growth so fast. So I was like,
So
I
that
just got to
does
put,
work. 3 to 5 videos a day. You would
yeah.
say that work. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely want your quantity over quality if you're going for growth. Like you just
Okay.
want to put yourself out there. So I was doing like 3 to 5 videos a day. It was a ton of work and I knew I was going to not post a lot that day. So I was like, I'll just do one while I'm getting ready. And I just did a makeup video. Like each step of the makeup, I'd be like, if your employer told you this, that's illegal. And it was like just a video. And so I actually got a migraine on the way down to New Orleans and I couldn't check my phone for like 10 hours. I was like violently sick.
Really?
Excuse me. And so when I got there and I opened my phone, it had like 10 million views.
Oh my gosh.
I
What
know.
was
And
that
it
like?
had
Like, what
blown
did that?
up.
Yeah. What was that like? What did you see
It
on your
was
phone?
insane. I didn't know what to do because you know me. I'm like small town. I'm like, what the heck's going
Yeah.
on? So I'm like, okay, is this the new norm? Like what's I'm like, there's no way this can keep up, right? And then the video, it kept going. People kept sharing it because it was so many common labor violations that
Were people commenting it on a lot too? Like,
oh yeah, they were commenting, they were sharing it. That's what you want if you're looking to go viral. The more people are sharing it, the more
yeah.
viral I've
Yeah.
noticed, the
Yeah.
more viral it goes.
Okay.
So it was kind of weird. It just kind of blew up. It was weird because I was out of town drunk in New Orleans and I'm getting like phone call after phone call. Like it was just insane. And that's when I'm like,
Who was
okay, maybe
calling you? Your friends, like telling you, like, yo, you're.
no, like people wanting with a
How did they have
case.
your? Oh, they were looking you up and being like,
Yeah.
Sparks.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, and it actually kind of worked out well because like that's kind of how I help filter through potential clients. If they will take
Yeah.
those steps to actually contact me, it's a little more legitimate than some tire kicker who just goes in my messages and wants to know if it's illegal and I never hear from them again, you know?
No, you talk about
So it was kind of
So, all right, so
what'd you
that
say?
was your first like viral experience going to New Orleans and then keeping your phone closed for like
Yeah.
it's
And
kind
then
of interesting because people will post and then keep like checking, and then you go to New Orleans, you're ill, and then 10 hours later you open your phone, and boom, like you've exploded,
it was
onto the
wild.
scene. So, what was that? A couple years ago?
Yeah, I think that was I don't know how long, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe
So,
3 years ago when
so
that
you
happened.
mentioned posting 3 to 5 videos a day. Let me ask you a question. Is there
Sure.
such thing as like viewer sort of get making your viewer tired of like seeing you? Apparently not. You know what I mean? Like this person sees,
So
because sometimes on Facebook, right? Like you see
yeah.
somebody post like all the time. You're like, all right, this guy again. You know what I mean? So it's
So
kind
I
of
could see why you would think that. It probably depends on like what platform you're on. But for example, TikTok, most people don't see videos consecutively unless they're going to
okay.
someone's profile and looking them up. So you want to be
Oh, that's
annoying. You want to
interesting.
put yourself
Okay.
out there because and in that same vein, Vinny, you never want to assume that someone has seen your other video
Okay.
because usually they haven't. So the TikTok algorithm is really different for when it will show people videos. So yeah, you can oversaturate your page and they may only see one of your videos, but at least you've put the quantity out if people want to consume more.
Wow.
But like if I do a series, like I have a case right now that I do updates on. Actually, I have a couple I do when people ask me. But there's one like a local case where a cop drove into a LGBTQ bar, and it's like a huge ordeal because they arrested the owner after they drove into his bar. It's crazy. But I do updates on that case, and even then, people haven't seen the first 1 and 2. So every video, I try to do like a little recap, you know. But I don't think you can overdo it when it comes to TikTok, because if you do, they just scroll, and if you don't, you can't assume they've seen your other videos. Most of the time, they haven't.
How about Instagram? Is it the same with the Reels or no?
Instagram is kind of like the Wild West right now because it's trying to compete with TikTok and YouTube and everything. I don't want to like jinx myself, but if anything right now I post on Reels, anything goes, it all gets great views. Like they're just pushing content out to as many. It's kind of like how TikTok used to be when it first started, when people were like locked in with the pandemic. But yeah, I post anything on there and I get great views with it. I think it's the same though, is like you can't assume people see everything you post about.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. That's why you need big email lists, I guess. But no, I guess that like makes sense. I mean, as far as viewer fatigue, they might not have seen it. Maybe it presents like the third out of a 3-part series. So that makes sense. That's helpful. So you go viral on this trip, and that's kind of fun. You know, you're away, you're looking at this thing, you're like, holy shit, like what is going on? So what happened when you got back? Like what happened from then? Then on.
So when we got back, we were trying to basically like manage the floodgates that had opened. Like we had no intake process really. We had no like setup stuff. I didn't have any employees or anything to help with. So for like the first at least year and a half of running a law firm, I did every single intake, every single consult. I was working like insane hours doing everything. And then we kind of filter through them. But you want to know what's really cool, Benny, is so like I come from really like my family grew up struggling like all the time. So I had so many jobs and all that stuff. And so money was never it's something I always wanted, but I never had it. And so I didn't know what it was like or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So like after that video went viral, I got a case that was a really great employment case that we immediately filed the charge and started working it up, and it was a 6-figure case from TikTok that it eventually.
Wow. Yeah, I think I remember you talking about it. Like,
insane. It blew my mind. I was like, wow. Yeah. So then I had more incentive to keep doing it, and I want to be clear: I don't post 3 to 5 a day now because I just don't have time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. Like, it's a chore if you do it that much. But that got me incentivized to keep doing it when that one first case settled. And I was like, this came from TikTok.
So it was a message to you in TikTok or like something in the comments?
Someone saw the video and then called the firm and set up like a intake. And I'm like, wow, that's a great claim. It was for FMLA. And it was great. It was a great case.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Yeah, I think I actually remember you talking about that one.
It blew my mind because I'm like, wow, people will just pay this money to settle these cases. And that's where I'm like, okay, like my wheels started turning. I'm like, if I could start doing this, like this could be really good.
Yeah, for sure. So like what advice do you have for somebody who wants to go viral on social media? And maybe they're not ready for it, but like what can you tell us?
Yeah, going viral is not what everyone thinks it is, because I'll tell you what, like whenever I go viral, I get mean comments, I get hate mail, hate messages and everything. Like it's not really what you think. But
and you said death threats. Like what did people say?
Yeah,
all right, go anyway. Sorry, answer the first question.
No, it's okay. So going viral, if you want to go viral, my advice to anyone who wants to go viral, it's less about you and more about the value you're providing, whether it's information or a story or a recipe or whatever you're sharing. That is going to get you to go viral. It's less about like you and people wanting to hear you until they get to know you. And it's more about like my viral video was just legal information. You could Google it. I was just telling people about rights that they have that they may not know about, and they like the information. So if you want to go viral, make it less about like your life or you, and do like what you think your people need, what you think someone needs to hear, or what content you would have liked when you were in that position. You know, that's my advice to anyone who wants to go viral. But yeah, we get death threat. We got a death threat because this is such a dumb story, but it's funny. So I got a death threat when on Instagram. I posted a video, and I like when people comment mean comments, it's not worth fighting with them. I usually just say something smart or whatever, or like it's so nice now other people will fight them in the comments for me.
Other people will fight.
I love it when they do that. Like nothing makes me more proud.
I love the comments. I love the comment section page.
Me too. I love it when people defend me in the comments. Like God bless you for doing that. But so someone commented something that was like, I think I just lost brain cells watching your video or something like that. And I don't even know who this person is, of course. And I just said, oh, that sucks. It doesn't look like you have many to lose. And I thought my joke was so funny, Benny, that I took a screenshot of it and put it on my stories because I believe in public shaming, by the way.
Yeah, oh, that's
so
amazing.
I put it on my stories and I kind of forgot about it. Like it was just like out of my head. And so it was like after hours, it was probably like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And my law partner was like, hey, because I'm like, don't bother me with notifications and stuff after hours. Because if I see it, I've got to work on it. So like we have a rule, like I don't want to talk about work after I quit working, you know?
Okay.
And so she's like, sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but like this is the third call in a row. This guy's sending death threats and he confused her house with me and was like, so threatening her basically. And he was like, I'm going to bash your effing head in and like just leaving these crazy messages. And I think he Googled where her house is because he was naming stores and stuff close by it. And he's like, if I see you at the IGA grocery store, I'm going to bash your effing head in, like just saying crazy. And I don't know who it is. So he left his full name several times.
Yep.
And eventually, so then I'm like, and I go look and it was that guy in the screenshot that said that stupid thing that I responded to. He had deleted his comment. I guess he was embarrassed, but he was mad that it was still in my stories.
Okay.
So,
well, like, who writes that anyway? Like, what the fuck writes
that? What'd you say?
Like, who writes that in the comments?
I know.
Like I think I just lost brain cells.
If you're gonna come for me, you better be able to take it back or like buck up, you know?
So hilarious.
Like if you're gonna come say something rude to me, I think he probably thought I'd be like, don't be mean to me. But I'm
What do you
insane.
mean? Like you don't want notifications after hours? Like if you're done working? Like
yeah,
what do you mean by notifications?
I can't relax. So if I'm done working and someone texted me, hey, so-and-so responded to your email about the settlement offer. Yeah. I can't just sit there. I immediately got to go do it, you know? So I can't see anything. So I can kind of forget about it so I can sleep or whatever. But so anyway, the guy that sent me these death threats, I had my friend who's a cop call the next day. It was like on a 3-way call. And this guy's name, the guy that threatened me, his name was Patrick. And so the cop was like, hey, this is the police. And he's like, what the F do you want? And he goes, did you threaten to kill someone this weekend, Patrick? And he's like, yeah, the bitch had it coming. And then he hung up. And so we
I'm sorry. That's not funny. That's not funny.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
It's just the way you say it. It's like a movie or something. I could just I'm picturing like the Midwest, you know,
really
like cars and like the people, like, you know, I don't know. All right.
Yeah, it really was like the weirdest story. So I said, so my friend, the cop who called Tony, I was like, Tony, I have his mom's phone number. Let's call her too. Because there's this website where you just look everything up. And so we called the mom and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We've been having so many problems with him. He just moved out. Like he's got these issues and he has no money, no car, no means at all. Like you're not in danger. And he's going to call and apologize right now. And he did. And it went to voicemail. And he was like, hi, this is Patrick. I'm on my medication now. I'm sorry for what I said that I wanted to fucking kill you earlier. I hope you have a good day. Bye.
Oh my gosh, Paige. That's a funny story. It's
ridiculous. A good story and it was good for
laughs. Like that's such like fighting word. I mean, like that's can be worrisome.
So dumb.
You find out it's like you know, it's
yeah.
I don't know.
So naturally, I'm pretty hard to find physically, like my whereabouts now.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So okay, that's all right. Well, we're glad you're safe. Like we're glad you're safe.
Yeah,
so you go viral. So now, I mean, like everything you do, like you have millions of followers, you have like millions of likes on TikTok. Your Instagram is also like crazy, like blown up. Like, I mean, what kind of good experiences have you had besides like videos, like, and new friends, maybe like cases? Like, have you met like people? Like, what kind of people are you like meeting? Like anybody, like good caliber people, like.
Yeah, it's been good in a couple ways. Like now I have like a better lawyer network where I can, if someone contacts me and I'm not licensed in their state, I have someone I can refer it to, or like I made a lot of lawyer friends, which I love. Like that's probably my favorite part is like I have these cool lawyer friends.
Yeah.
But what the better part, because I'm a little petty, is my opposing counsel hates me and they treat me so much differently, like more respectfully
really?
now.
Because they're like, oh, we got this like
they don't want to be in a video. Yeah, they don't want to be in a video.
So does that work in your favor?
I think so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had a couple that were just like awful to me, and I'll make a video or two, and of course I don't say anyone by name. I'll just kind of say what's going on, and they will instantly email me and be like, "Don't make any more videos about me." And I kind of gaslight them. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're not that important. I don't know what you're talking about. And it was about them,
I have hundreds of cases. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that case? Oh, no.
Yeah. You're not that important. Like, why would I spend time making a video? Or there was one guy, because for a while I called it Stupid Dummy of the Week. I don't call it that anymore because I didn't want to, like, I don't know. I just thought that was a little too mean. But for a while I was calling it that. And I said a story about, and it was stupid. And it was like something about discovery. I gave him so many chances. He's just being an idiot. And I posted the video. And I mean, I would not have guessed that this person would be on social media this way. Within like 5 minutes of posting it, he sends me an email and was like, "Oh my God, am I the stupid dummy of the week?" I didn't respond. I was like, "Oh my God."
What did he do?
It was just something dumb. Like it was like a discovery dispute, we had to do like a motion to compel and stuff like that.
And he just like, he didn't compel anything.
He kept ignoring me, just doing stupid stuff. So I think I probably had like a slow week, and I'm like, I'll just talk about his stupid stuff he did this week. Which is nice,
oh my God, Paige!
No one talks about it to me. I wouldn't like being talked about like that. But he goes instantly. He's like, "Oh my God, am I the stupid dummy?" And I kind of was like, "Okay, I took it too far."
You're just like ripping people apart there in Missouri.
Don't mess with me.
So I think that's the theme of this podcast. So let me, I'm just kidding. So I want to ask you more about something about social media, which I think about a lot. So as you know, Lawyer Stories is like big on community. So do you like feel that you see like the same people like all the time? Like you go on social media and you see like just the same people there all the time, like doing like everything. I mean, it's just but then it's like everybody kind of knows each other, right? Like, I mean, I feel like I go on LinkedIn and I see like pictures of people together that I featured on Lawyer Stories, and like, who knew that they?
Oh, that's cool.
But they're like both from like California, And then like I just feel like it's just like a big, out of the millions and millions of lawyers out there, like social media has its own community of lawyers. I don't know. Any commentary on that?
Yeah. I love it actually. So one of my best lawyer friends, Michelle Nabati, I met her through social media doing a podcast actually. And like, I'm so glad we met each other. We talk at least once a week. And then I have like my other friend, Ryan, like I ask all of my network, cause you know me, I have no shame, no pride. I'm like, "Hey, have you ever dealt with a situation before?" And we just help each other with, or send leads, or I love that kind of tight knit community. And not everyone's like that, unfortunately. So you definitely kind of find that out as you as you see what people just want from you things. But yeah, I love that community, but not even just lawyers, just like regular people that comment too. I recognize the people who are regularly showing up in the comments or like my messages. Like I try to respond to as many comments and as many messages as I can, because that's the reason why I have a platform, is because people engage with it. So I have two different really cool communities, whether it's like the internet lawyer community or just people. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, no, you do definitely have like a different type of community too. You have like the lawyers, people know who Paige Sparks is in the lawyer community, and then you have like these people that aren't attorneys that are just like interested in like the legal happenings and going on and want to hear about your cases. And like there's probably like 20, 30, 40, 50 people, well, I mean there's millions, but that you could see commenting and liking your stuff all the time, right?
Yeah, and I have my favorites that are always like commenting. So like one of Brandy will message me. I'm like, "Hi Brandy, have a good day." You know, like it's just
Yeah.
I love the people that talk with me and stuff. And I definitely notice who does more because it's just like kind of repetitive. But I love having the community like that. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, community is so important. I mean, it's crazy how social media has done this for us, like in terms of, maybe you don't see anybody during the day, or you're just so busy that you see like two people and the
Yeah.
people you work with, but you have like all these people that you could have ongoing conversations with, like just because of social media, like through the app or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's super interesting to hear from your perspective. So any other interesting messages on social media, like legal related, any like marriage proposals, any like crazy stuff or
My DMs are kind of weird sometimes. Like
what?
people send me weird. So, oh my God, I'm glad you asked this because this just happened. So I have my messages turned off on TikTok. Like if we're not friends, you can't message me because there's too many and I can't answer them all in there. Like I have my form linked if you want to consult and like I can't respond to all the messages and it was too much. So I had it turned off. Well, there's like a glitch right now or something.
Okay.
The last 2 days, all the messages are turned on. You should see my freaking DMs right now, Benny. They're
What?
like marriage proposals, like I mean, just like the most random stuff. And I'm like, why are my TikTok messages? Yeah. So that's kind of it. Sometimes people send weird stuff to kind of try to stand out, you know, and I'm like, what are you doing?
All right, well, that's
Or like there's some other TikTok creators that will send me questionable stuff and I'm like, you're married. And I know that
really like what's questionable? You don't have to name anybody, but like what's
like way too flirty or suggestive stuff. And I'm like, you make content with your wife and so I'm like waiting for one good one and I'll send her a screenshot, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's hilarious. So speaking of creators, like who do you have any like I know there are some like legal creators that you've partnered with. What about non-legal creators on TikTok that you like that you see
Oh
there?
yeah. I actually have a lot of non-legal creators that I really like. Like I love the Cliff Notes girl. She'll kind of summarize little drama and stuff people tag her in. I love it because I have like ADHD, so I'm like get to the point, you
Okay.
know.
All right.
And she'll just be like, "This is what this argument's about." I don't have to watch like a 12-part story, you know. It's just like she does it close. Love her stuff. There's other people on TikTok that I follow that are just like comedians and stuff that crack me up and are funny or like life advice ones, but it's kind of
Okay.
me. You know what I mean? I like
That's what
the
I get too. Yeah, my
yeah.
feed's a lot of like life advice, comedians, sports,
Yeah,
obviously.
I like that.
Yeah, that's funny. Anybody in particular?
I really like Erin. I think it's Erin Monroe. I can't remember her full username right now, but she'll be like, I found her because one of her videos that went viral. That's how I found her was like, here's your daily reminder that you wouldn't do well in prison. I know you think you're tough, but you're a delicate flower. Let's be honest. Like she's just funny.
Okay. What
Yeah, but I love having different creator friends on there.
That's amazing. And you're actually friends with those, like you've talked to them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? A lot of it'll be funny because I have like I don't know how many, like a bunch of creator friends on there, and they'll ask me legal questions all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you got sick going on. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. How long? What would you say the sweet spot is for length of a video?
It depends on what platform you're trying to post on. Usually shorter is better. People have really short attention spans. So if you're posting on TikTok, I always tell people to try to keep it between like 30 and 60 seconds.
Okay.
Because those are kind of like the sweet spot, like you said. But obviously, sometimes when I'm posting them, they're like 2 minutes long because I'm talking about a case.
Yep.
I can see everyone drops off after like 20 seconds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So people don't really watch whole videos once they get past that mark, you know, kind of.
Okay.
But on Instagram, they don't want you to post more than 60 seconds.
Right.
Or like 90 seconds. So if you do want to do that, I have to post it. I don't post reels. I post it as a post and it'll let me post longer. But usually even on there, it's better if it's shorter. Like 30 to 60 seconds is the sweet spot for people's attention span.
Oh, is that right? Like if you do a post, it can go longer than 60?
Yeah, if you upload a video as a post instead of a reel on Instagram, then you can do it as long as you want.
Will it still go in the reel section though?
Yeah, it still looks just like a reel, but it looks uploaded longer. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. So just going back to the law. What's that?
A little cheat code.
I wish I could. I mean, I don't know. I wish? Maybe. Whatever. So, a couple more questions. Like, tell us about running your own law firm. Like, do you like doing it? Is it something that like you don't think you can go back and have a boss now because you've been doing it for a while? Yeah.
Never.
Right.
I could never work for someone again, I don't think. I don't like being told what to do anyway, but now I really don't, because I don't have to. So I don't think I could ever work for someone again. It's hard to run your own firm though. I mean, you know how it is. Everything's on you. You're the everything. If there's a problem, you have to figure it out. And it's not like a job you can clock in and clock out of or make it someone else's problem. Like
right.
If you don't resolve it on a Monday, you got to do it on Tuesday. It's just kind of small business owner pains, I think, in general. But yeah, I can never go back to work for someone again.
Yeah, and plus it's like, I think I want to record a video in the middle of the day. It's not like you're going to be going out there in the middle of the law office, like, making a cup of coffee with everybody around and just kind of like, talking about, I think the drinking from
I like my schedule.
What's that? You like having your schedule, yeah. I think drinking from the straw can become
I like making my own schedule.
Yeah.
What did drinking you say? Sorry,
you cut out a little bit, but I think drinking from your straw can become more of a thing too. Like, keep doing that. I like that. I like you just keep drinking from the straw. It's like
I drink from a
coffee,
straw. People freak out too.
Beer. So where do you see yourself in like 3 to 5 years?
I would like to get more I would like to do a little less legal work. I'm still going to always do cases. I like doing them and I like having content to talk about, but I'd like to do more media. I'd like to make a longer form podcast or like on YouTube or something. I hope I can make time to do that. But like right now I have so many cases. The thought of even tackling that, I can't right now.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'd love to steer more into that.
And the thing that's crazy is like, Paige, like when you were in law school, did you ever think like you would have, or even at your first job or two, did you ever think you'd have the opportunity to do something like this, like be on social media, get cases from social media, talk about the law in a way that you like to talk about it and like engage in the law the way that you'd want to engage in it? I mean, what a crazy opportunity, right?
Yeah, I've never even imagined it, to answer your question. No, and I started making videos during the pandemic because I was like, how am I going to bring cases in? Because I was making such a low salary and it's supposed to be like you make money off of what you bring in on top of that,
Yeah.
And so it was purely out of necessity. I was just making videos because I didn't know how to network during the pandemic. And it just took off. No, I like me in law school would not believe you if you said
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So were you like, oh my goodness, like I'm getting so many cases, I need to leave this firm immediately and open my own? Is that kind of how it felt?
No, I just hated who I worked for and where I was working. Then I was like, fuck it. I have enough cases. I'll figure it out. Like I said, it can't get worse. So, and then I just left and then it all worked out. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's a grind, but you're doing amazing things now. Congrats on all your success and everything with, social media, and thanks for, being a friend of Lawyer Stories and all your support and everything.
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to
have me on the podcast?
Yeah, of course. Do you have anything else you want to say to Lawyer Stories community? Any advice, or did we leave anything out from your story that you wanted to talk about in particular?
Oh, you know what? I do have something I want to add. I think everyone should do videos. Just put yourself out there. Start somewhere, because like what we were just talking about, if I hadn't done those cringy videos or I really didn't know what I was doing, I wouldn't be here telling you about how things are today,
Yeah.
I think everyone should do videos. I know it's scary. I know it's intimidating, but if I can do it, anyone can, I think everyone should do it. That's what awesome. I want to add.
I love it.
My little inspiration, like, it's not as difficult as people think. It's really quite simple to just make a video, start talking, and eventually someone wants to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great advice from the TikTok superstar, Paige Sparks.
Oh, gosh.
Louis, Missouri. How about that Nelly song? You know that Nelly song, You Can Find Me in St. Louis?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a local celeb here. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Sorry for singing that. Okay, so thanks for coming on. Paige, stay right there. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in wherever you are in the world today. Enjoy yourselves.